Assalamu alaikum, खुश आमदेद, जी आया नू, वेलकम टू इलेक्शन 2020 ऑन TV1 USA। आप सबको खुश आमदेद है। आज के इस प्रोग्राम में स्पेशल प्रोग्राम है, स्पेशल एपिसोड है। कंग्रेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट 22 इंतहाई ज़्यादा इस वक्त हॉट है, गर्म है, वेरी कंटेस्टेड कंग्रेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट है। पीट ओल्सन ने डिसाइड किया कि वो शायद रिटायर हो रहे हैं। उसके बाद रिपब्लिकन्स और डेमोक्रेट्स उनकी लाइन लगी हुई है और हर कोई इस उम्मीद से है कि कंग्रेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट 22 में वो आपको रिप्रेजेंट कर सकें। आज के प्रोग्राम में कंग्रेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट 22 की हमारे साथ एक और कैंडिडेट मौजूद रहेंगी जिनका नाम न्यांजा है। वो प्रो बोनो बेसिस पे बहुत सी अपनी अटर्नी सर्विसेज भी प्रोवाइड करती रही हैं, कम्युनिटी के अंदर काफ़ी उनकी खिदमात रही हैं। आज के प्रोग्राम का गोल ये है कि बैठ के उनसे सैर हासिल गुफ्तगू की जाए कि क्यों आप लोग जो हैं और हम लोग जो हैं और वो लोग जो कंग्रेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट 22 के वोटर्स हैं वो इनको सेलेक्ट करें। इसी सिलसिले में हम बात करेंगे कुछ हॉट बर्निंग इंटरनेशनल इश्यूज़ पे। कश्मीर के इश्यू पे भी बात होगी। इंडिया का इस वक्त जो ट्रंप का विज़िट है, प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप का जो विज़िट है, उस पर भी बात होगी। फिर उसके साथ साथ अराउंड द वर्ल्ड, अराउंड द ग्लोब जो एक कांग्रेशनल इफेक्ट होता है, कांग्रेस का जो एक अपना असर रसूख होता है, लॉ मेकिंग बॉडी है यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स की, उसमें कांग्रेस मैन और कांग्रेस वुमन का क्या किरदार है, उस पर बात होगी। हेल्थ केयर पे बात होगी, एजुकेशन पे बात होगी, सोशलिज्म पे बात होगी, एक्सट्रीमिज़म पे बात होगी, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन पे बात होगी। सारे इश्यूज़ आएंगे। लेकिन प्रोग्राम अगर मैं शुरू कर दूं आज और उसमें मैं ज़िक्र न करूं उन एट्रॉसिटीज़ का जो कि अराउंड द ग्लोब अगेंस्ट ह्यूमैनिटी रिगार्डलेस ऑफ रिलीजन, कलर ऑफ द स्किन हुई हैं, तो थोड़ा सा इंग्लिश में भी बात करते हैं इस प्रोग्राम में। As we will go through the program, I have explained to you in Urdu what we will talk about, and it's a hotly contested seat of Congressional District 22. Today's Election 2020 episode will be solely dedicated to another candidate. Her name is Nyanza, an attorney who have offered her pro bono services for many, many years to many organizations, a family woman, a mom, a wife, and she have practiced pretty much every character of life in the honest and graceful way. But at the same time, the purpose of the program is for you, the audience, to decide if and when you go to the polls, why she should be your choice, so that she can make her message clear while you're having evening teas in your home right now. But it will be injustice if I don't start the program without talking about what's happening in Kashmir, because we will touch on the issue of Kashmir, which is very important to a lot of Pakistani Americans and a lot of Indian Americans who have not been victimized by the hatred and BJP mentality. So we will discuss the sensitive issue. But I just want to share on air with some unconfirmed and confirmed figures that I have received this morning. On October 10th, 1992, 9 women were gang raped during a search operation by a unit, 22 grenadiers in village Chak Sadpura in Sofian. The victims include an 11-year-old and a 60-year-old woman. Medical reports confirm rape. No soldiers were prosecuted. On 2nd January 1992, Major and other personnel of 5 RR Brigade into house of local who was related to a militant. They barged in there. Their father was abducted. The elder daughter was raped by the major of the unit, and the younger daughter was raped by other personnel. Father is still missing. Ladies and gentlemen, 1992. On 10th of August 1990, a gang rape in Balipura, Pazipura by Army patrol of 6 Rajput of 68th Brigade. Around 20 to 30 women were gathered in a spacious house after encounter with militants and were gang raped one by one after crying slogan Jai Hind, which stands for something about India. No soldier was prosecuted. On 12th of September 1997, Major Nayar of 20 Grenadiers, Army Brigade, onto a house, Rezwan village, and raped lady of the house. No soldier was prosecuted. And I have 15 of these figures. And some of these figures actually are confirmed by some very reputable organizations. There was a wedding procession coming through on May 18, 1990. The wedding procession was stopped on its way to the village of Kokarnag, and troopers dragged the bride and her aunt to nearby bushes field and raped her. The reason I'm talking about is about these things. Hardly our foreign leadership is aware of a lot of this, and no one talks about it. Why I touched just on the rape today, ladies and gentlemen, in India, there's a huge problem of rape. These problems all over the world. I'm pretty sure Pakistan have fair share of problems. But India, in regards to the women's rights, where it needs to be and it used to be, and as we knew it before BJP, the biggest democracy of the world. What is happening to the women's rights there? So we will talk about that. Reason I have spoken about this is that women's rights, those champions sitting at your home, please pay attention to the suffering women of Kashmir, suffering women of India, suffering women of Sudan, or anywhere else in the world. I'm not picking on one country or nation. All of us as humanity can do better when it comes to the women's rights. And without further ado, I would like to welcome Nyanza Moore.
Hello.
Nyanza Moore, peace be on you. Salam to you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Nyanza Moore, we're going to jump right into it.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Why our viewers should go to the vote tomorrow, today, rest of the early voting, till the Super Tuesday, and why should they pick you, Nyanza?
Well, they have to vote. If you are an American citizen, it doesn't matter if you got your citizenship last year, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you have power within the palm of your hand with your vote. Too many times, the people that fought for our rights to vote, the black people in the United States of America, fought for civil rights for everyone to be able to vote. So when you don't vote, you're not letting your voice be heard. And that's why I'm so glad to be here with you today, because I need your viewers to understand why I'm running so that they can hopefully vote for me. My family life is filled with tragedy. My sister died in 2016. My father-in-law died in 2017. Thank you for that. My dad died April 18th of 2018. And my mother-in-law died December 18th of 2019, just a couple of months ago.
So sorry to hear that.
And my best friend died about 3.5 weeks ago.
Maybe that was the reason we didn't see you.
That
on the
is exactly
trail.
why. The end of 2019, every single year since 2016, I've been burying people in my family.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you for that. And now healthcare was always a major crisis, but one of the things that I hope the viewers get to understand is that my sister spent 16 years on a feeding tube after a hospital made a mistake, and she went in for dehydration just to get fluids, but they gave her a double shot of potassium. So it stopped her heart. She was in a coma for 8 days, and when she woke up, she lost her ability to walk, talk, speak, or swallow. So at 32 years old, my mom and dad had to care for her with out-of-pocket expenses, and the medical expenses were insurmountable. But fortunately,
so you have firsthand challenges of medical billing.
Firsthand, and not a lot of people think that Medicare is what would be the best fix for the United States of America, but Medicare doesn't cover everything. So why would you want to say Medicare for all when Medicare only gives you about 75% of what you actually need? It doesn't cover some of the things that elderly people need, our greatest generation. It doesn't cover some hearing aids. It doesn't cover dentures. It doesn't cover a lot of things that our senior citizens have to pay out of pocket. And the prescription drug prices, that won't be fixed by Medicare for all. So I'm the type of person, even though my family dealt with tragedy, I understand that people have to pay out-of-pocket expenses. But in the United States of America, fortunately, in 2010, the Affordable Care Act was enacted. So that allowed my mom and dad to be able to shift some of the financial burden. But unfortunately, it didn't do anything for prescription drug prices. My dad was a veteran. He enlisted to serve in Vietnam. He volunteered at a time when black men didn't even have the right to vote.
Wow.
But he was the type of black man, like all the black men in my family.
So your family have suffered the discrimination firsthand.
Oh, absolutely. I graduated from Texas A&M University. In political science major. I received an academic scholarship, the President's Achievement Award. And right down the street was Prairie View A&M University. That was the university where all of the black students had to go because they couldn't go to A&M. My mom and dad in the 50s went to Prairie View A&M and they met each other and married there.
You know what? You're so blessed because you actually got graduated. I can tell you a story of my great-grandmother-in-law, Lydia Dosler. During her time, they would not allow girls to go to law school. So she did not put her sex on the application, and when she made it to the school, they sent her back.
Of course they did. But you understand, so Texas A&M did not allow women in the university until 1970. I was born in 1972, so it wasn't too long ago. So they find ways to discriminate against people. But one thing that my dad taught me, he said, Nyanza, I joined when other people that were white men, Christian men, were dodging the draft. They had the right to vote, and they were still not standing up for their
So
own
you
country.
could vote, but you could not defend.
Right.
You didn't want to defend the
right.
country.
You have the power to vote, but you would rather send in men that you know don't have the right to vote, who want to fight for the country that doesn't even love them. So my dad said, you know, the country may not have it right. They didn't have it right in the 50s, but they will get it right eventually. And of course, we had the Civil Rights Act of 1963 and the Voting Rights Act of 1964. So it worked out eventually. But my father, when he came back from Vietnam, he only served one tour. And what he said in the military was that the most interesting thing about the United States military was it was completely desegregated during World War I. So since 1940, it was desegregated. So when my dad had to stay in the Army barracks, in the Air Force barracks, it was all desegregated. So you would have white, Muslim, black, Latino, and Asian all sleeping in the same barracks. But once they left the base, it was all segregation everywhere in the United States.
Wow.
So the issue with healthcare, I'm bringing that back to healthcare because my dad, he unfortunately died from stage 4 gallbladder cancer. He just didn't
Sorry to
survive
hear
it.
that. Sorry.
Thank you. But that's a suffering sickness. So I was his caregiver because we had just buried my sister. My mother was a little bit too depressed to deal with my dad's surgeries and all of his oncology treatments. Plus, she was surviving breast cancer herself. And, you know, one of the things when I was wheeling my dad around MD Anderson Cancer Center, he said, you know, these prescription drug prices, I get a discount for the VA, you know, but I know that you don't get a discount. I said,
But
no,
you think VA is the
The
best
No.
to provide all this?
This is the reason why I'm not for single payer. I'm not for, say, so I have firsthand knowledge of healthcare with my sister's illness. Then I have firsthand knowledge about the way that the VA treated my dad, who was a veteran, who when he needed his medical treatment, they only gave him 40% of his disability instead of 100%. He was 77 years old, had survived prostate cancer, fought for this country without the right to vote, and then was dying of gallbladder cancer. And he applied for his full benefits because he had been married to my mother for 58 years, and he understood if he did not get the benefits fully while he was alive, that would affect her death benefits when he was gone. And, you know, the VA denied my dad's appeal. And then he said, Nyanza, you know, you're a lawyer. You've been practicing a long time. I need you to file my appeal. And, you know, I filed the second appeal and it got rejected. And then the third appeal and it got rejected. And I didn't understand that. I was like, you know, Daddy, I'm a good lawyer. You know, I graduated magna cum laude from law school. I was the president of the Phi Delta Phi Honor Society. I was on the dean's list every single semester, and I was #1 in the class after the 1L year.
So you can be the best of the attorney, but
yes,
system will not
I
let
was the
you
best of the attorneys, and I got recruited by the largest law firms in the world, and I went to go work for one of the largest law firms in the world. The problem was this. If I'm coming with all of this academic knowledge, being a fantastic lawyer, you know, and then my appeals to the Veterans Administration are rejected every time, then what about the other families
Imagine.
that don't have a lawyer daughter, and a smart one at that, that don't have someone that can fight? So what happens to those families? And my dad said, you know what? If you're getting rejection, imagine all the other veterans who are getting rejections, and they're doing the paperwork themselves. So I told my dad, I said, you know what? There has to be something that can be done.
So you have faced the challenges that every average American faces every single day, and having the tools for that, you still struggled. I want to switch the subject here but before that, let's talk to a caller. You are on air at TV1 USA Election 2020.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. I have to thank Nyanza Moore. I listened to her at Mariam Masjid last Friday, and I was truly impressed with how vocal she is about the atrocities we are facing in India as Indian Muslims.
Thank you. I
She
appreciate
talked about the citizenship registry and how we're being targeted by RSS. They're building death camps for us. And what's really frightening is that RS is now funding the election campaign of a candidate in Congressional District 22. So I'm very proud for Nyanza for openly speaking about it. Our democracy cannot sustain foreign funding by a foreign terrorist organization that does not, and a government that supports it that doesn't share any common values of democracy with us. So I just wanted to say these two words. Thank you so much.
So when you heard, stay with us, when you heard Nyanza at the mosque, how did she connect with you, sir? Oh, so caller is gone. They cut him out.
I appreciate
so,
that.
how do you feel about? First of all, tell me before we answer his question. I have seen you whenever you go to the mosque, you show a little respect with the head covering. Tell us about that. What motivates you, to have this attire?
Well, okay, I'm a Christian. I'm a black Christian Baptist woman from the South, and my dad, that I already spoke of, raised us to respect everyone. And so I believe that out of respect, I should dress and cover the same way that women do and that are Muslim. And I believe that any woman that is going to visit your sacred place for prayer should absolutely respect the culture. And for me, I cover, my staff covers, we all do, because it's respectful, and I do believe, and it didn't start with the Muslim culture.
Okay.
I'm a
curious
Christian.
now. Okay.
Mary covered.
Okay.
Nuns in the Catholic Church, they
Yes.
cover.
Okay.
You never see a nun without her habit. It's a hijab for you, but it's a habit for the nuns.
So you're cherishing the life of Mary?
Absolutely. I'm cherishing Mary and respecting Islam as well.
Nyanza Moore says she cherishes the life of Mary. She's a family woman. She's suffered through atrocities of this system here at home through the VA benefit challenges. She suffered through the cancer cluster challenges of Houston, Texas. She goes to the mosque. She's a wholesome American. She respects the faith, and she would like to talk about atrocities of Kashmir that she spoke about recently, what our caller notified us at a mosque called Mariam Mosque here in Sugar Land. We'll come back to you right after a short break, viewers. Stay with us so that we can continue to understand that the folks that we are sending to the corridors of power of our great nation, United States of America, are they making the world a better place for you and me? Stay with us. Election 2020, right after a short break.
That was good. Sorry.
Olson is, leaving office, and now a lot of folks are hopeful for that. Folks, when we took a break, we spoke about the inclusiveness,
Yes.
the life of marriage,
Yes.
representation of, Muslim faith, and
And the
mutual,
hijab and the habit.
and mutual respect. That's great. And our caller, he really shook us to core.
Yeah.
That you said something at the Mariam Mosque about Kashmir and the
I
people
did.
of Kashmir. What was that?
Well, I was really surprised that the caller was there, but I thought it was important for.
And there's
the
two more
people-
callers waiting.
Oh, okay.
All
Oh,
right.
well, good.
All right.
So at the mosque on Friday, I basically let the people know that as your congresswoman, I'm going to speak truth to power no matter who's in power. And I believe that the atrocities that are happening in Kashmir right now with the citizenship registry that they're trying to propel to make sure that Indian-born Muslims are basically revoked from their citizenship and risk deportation, with the 200 million Muslims over there that are born in India. I thought that what is going on with the BJP as well as the RSS, it's basically a human rights violation that's being committed in open air,
And
brazenly.
hold your thought there. Let's take these callers, and so we can discuss the whole issue inclusively.
Okay.
You are on air, TV1 USA, election 2020.
Yes, I have a question for Nyanza Mood regarding the Sugarland taxes. There's too much taxes in Sugarland. It's very difficult for us to live in Sugarland. And I appreciate her regarding the Kashmir issue and her view. So,
Okay, what's your question? Oh, Texas. So, thank you.
especially the Sugarland, since I'm living in Sugarland,
Yes.
so we are facing too much taxes in Sugarland, and there is no government hospital in Sugarland.
So, these
The tax-
taxes you're talking about,
Are they county?
county taxes or city taxes?
City taxes, and there is no government hospital here like Harris County.
Okay. So, maybe we can speak to the second subject. I guess
Yes.
you can't really say
So I
anything
can't
about
really do anything about the city government taxes. Those are your city councilmen and your mayor. So you have to make sure that you vote along the party lines that will lower your taxes. But on the federal level is where the taxes are important. What does our United States government tax money pay for, which is the citizens' tax money? So we don't want to pay for things that are going to be beneficial to anybody that's, basically committing genocide. We don't want to give tax breaks to foreign governments that are coming into the United States and donating to certain campaign candidates. So when you talk about taxpayer dollars and how they're spent on a federal level, it's very important on who you elect as your congressperson, because those congressmen and women get to decide exactly what those tax funds go to.
Okay. And we'll take the next caller. Thank you for that answer. Assalamu alaikum, you are on air.
Yes, my name is Mariam. First of all, I would like to say hi to Nyanza Moore.
Hi.
I'm really proud. I have heard her speaking on different forums, and I am really proud of her, how she is open about the atrocities that is happening for the Indian Muslims, and especially the Indian occupied Kashmir. I would like Nyanza Moore and you to watch a documentary that has been also documented by the Indian Human Rights Organization. It is called The Ocean of Tears. It's on the YouTube. You can watch it. It's a documentary about 3 villages that an incident happened when the Indian Army, they entered into the 3 villages in Kunan, Poshpora, and they took the men of the houses out from the village,
the report I was talking
and
about.
for the whole night, for 72 hours, they mass gang raped about 400 women. And the youngest victim was 15 months old, who died on spot. And those 400 women, they still didn't get any justice. I would like you to watch that YouTube documentary, which is a real incident of the mass gang rapes. And this is the only one case. There are hundreds and thousands of these mass gang rape cases that have happened and that are happening in Indian occupied Kashmir right now. While this Kulkarni guy, he's coming and he's hanging the flyers on my personal house door to vote for him, my 32-year-old cousin. He was murdered last year. The only crime he did was he went outside to search the bread for his 6-year-old son. Because the Indian army, they were drunk and they shot him dead on spot.
I'm so sorry for your loss, Maryam. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. To God we belong. To Him we return. I'm so sorry for your
So
loss.
I am really proud of Nyanza Moore. We love you, and our votes are always for you.
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much.
And Maryam, please make sure you leave your number with the control room before you hang up. We would like to get in touch with you again.
Yes, definitely.
Nyanza Moore,
I cannot.
her cousin goes out to get bread. Months and months of curfew in the Valley of Kashmir. And the Valley of Kashmir is referred to as the beauty on the face of earth. And compared to paradise, unfortunately and fortunately, we have another caller. And before we can continue on, let's hear to this caller. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. You are on air.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You are on TV1 USA Election 2020 with Nyanza Moore and Muhammad Ali.
Wonderful. Nyanza Moore, the top running candidate for District 22. This is Terrence Bolton. How are you?
Hi, Terrence. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I wanted to call in. I've been listening to the program the entire time, and I just have to say, there is not a more diligent, caring, and hardworking candidate in her race than her. I have personal experience with Nyanza. Her methods are amazing. Her thought process is incredible. There is no one that will be able to do the things that Nyanza is capable of, and I speak from personal experience. You know, it always helps to have somebody that's seen the work, been in the trenches with her, know exactly what her particular brand of politics will yield. This woman has done amazing things, and we would be remiss if we did not put our support behind her. She is absolutely wonderful in all things that she does, and she will put every single piece of her being into taking care of that district. I live in District 22, so I believe that the change that we need, she has the ability to make it happen.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Terrence.
you so much,
Seem
Terrence.
for your confidence in Nyanza.
Yes.
That speaks volume.
I appreciate that.
And
Thank you
I
so
just
much.
heard control room. We have another caller. All right, you're on air, TV1 USA Election 2020. Seems like we'll have to do 2 programs.
I think so.
Okay. Yes, sir. You're on air. Ji.
Ali, this is John Shaikh.
How are you, John Shaikh? Good to see you.
I'm fine. I got a question. There's a situation going on in Kashmir,
Yes.
and it's being locked up for so many, it's been several months. And those people, weather comes and go, and you know how cold it is in Kashmir in these days.
Yes, definitely.
Some areas are below zero.
Yep.
And what this your guest is planning to do, how we can persuade the U.S. government. Our president is going to India today. He's on his way. Going to be in India in a few hours. And how we can persuade India to open this curfew and let those people live a normal life. And maybe later on we do, according to the United Nations resolution, to give them a right of self-determination. What your guest has to say about that, please.
Thank you, John Shaikh, for beautiful question.
Yes.
Kashmir under lockdown, people need freedom. United Nations passed a resolution that the people of Kashmir have right to self-determination, and none of that is happening. But we have another caller. Let's take this caller.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, you are on air. Election 2020 with
Assalamu
Nyanza Moore.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
I had a comment and I had a question for Ms. Moore also. There is a whole lot of proofs being put out over there. One of her, the guy who's running in the campaign for Texas 22, he is taking money from RSS. His contributors are RSS related. There are 3 or 4 more Congress people in the United States openly saying that they are getting funding from RSS. Now, this is a dilemma for the immigrants from South Asia and also for the Democratic Party to address that why is this foreign money being allowed into the campaign? So what does he suggest from a Democratic Party perspective? How do they handle this situation and call out these candidates from the party higher-ups and get them to either confess to that they're taking the money or not let them run on a Democratic primary?
Thank you so much for your question. Anything else you have to say before you go off air, sir? All right. Control room, let's hold the callers. Callers, if you're calling, you're welcome to call. Please call. But let's address these things. Foreign funding, RSS,
So foreign
BJP.
funding is illegal.
Okay.
You know, the Federal Elections Commission.
And
the
I'm not
FEC
sure the foreign funding is coming or not, but he's saying there's an impression going on. And folks are very sentimental. Nyanza, the challenges we have is women being raped, fathers being killed,
You know,
lockdown, no internet in Valley of Kashmir, and President Trump is landing, or maybe he's already landed.
So, from what I understand, he's doing a 36-hour tour,
Okay.
which is a little bit more than a day and a half, and
Okay.
he's going to land and he's going to go to the stadium. When Modi came to the United States, he was met with 50,000 protesters
Yes.
that were saying, "Howdy, Modi, like we see you." 50,000 Muslim Americans got up and protested against his arrival. So now he's trying to reciprocate to President Trump, who likes to have lots of fanfare. He likes to have crowds of people. And he's already been speaking that there are about 8 million people that are going to be out there praising him. And they basically set it up, but the stadium only holds 110,000 people that he's going to be visiting. But I saw some of the flyers that are already being put out all across India welcoming President Trump, that are saying that this is the start of a new best friendship between the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of India. And that is an inherent problem.
Prime Minister of India was banned from coming to the United States.
Exactly. So
at
he was
one
banned
point.
for 10 years. And the fact that the ban was not reinstated for an
If Hitler
additional 10
comes
years,
back alive, he becomes the Prime Minister of the new democracy. What
I
we gonna
honestly
do?
feel like any candidate running for office, let's just take us back to 1940 or 1939. I would not expect someone running for parliament in Germany, if they were trying to get the Jewish people to support them and to understand that once they win, they will fight for them. I would not expect them to take a photograph with Hitler. So I would not expect anybody running in Congressional District 22 to welcome and embrace Narendra Modi when we have over 10,000 Muslims that live in Sugar Land alone. Fort Bend County is the most diverse county in the United States of America. A lot of that is because of black and brown people like us. So when you have candidates that are running, there are only black and brown people running as Democrats in District 22. There are no Caucasian men or women. So you have a black woman, a black man, and an Indian man. So when you think about it, if you know that you're representing the most diverse county in the country, Fort Bend, Texas, then you have to make sure that you're representing all people and that you're going to make sure as the congressman that you're going to be welcoming everyone. So what does it say if you're taking money from Hitler's regime?
Let's take one more caller. Okay.
Sure.
You are on air, TV1 USA, Election 2020, Congressional District 22. Nyanza, move with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You're on air.
Hi. I had an opportunity to listen to Nyanza last Friday at the Mariam Masjid.
Okay.
And I was quite impressed by what she was, how vocal she was about some very important issues. And in fact, before that, I had an opportunity to listen to Sri Preston Kulkarni as well. And I questioned him. I asked him a question afterwards, just I did with Nyanza. And when I asked him about a few things, particularly about what's happening around India, and because he originally comes from there, and he gets a lot of funding from some of these RSS groups here, and I asked him about his participation in the Modi rally and a few other events that were hosted by these RSS-driven groups here. He was very political, and incidentally, he said he's not a politician, but he's a diplomat, and he gave me a whole lot of credentials about his foreign service and all of that. But when I was questioning him a little further, particularly about his response to things that are happening in Kashmir, in fact, when he had been vocal about other things where the government of India was involved and all of that, he was very evasive. But when I talked to Nyanza, and she was very clear, and it was not because she was favoring one group or the other, but I think it was based on facts and based what is true.
What did she tell you?
Come back to our.
What did she tell you? What is the one thing you remember?
I think she stands for human rights. She stands for the right thing to do. And we as Americans, when we support any group, any regime, especially when I claim to get the Muslim vote, to get a vote of a certain minority community. But then I go out and I am actually in bed with the people who are actually committing those atrocities. And it's no secret, like whatever is happening in India. And those very people that are funding Sri President Kulkarni, and he is actually, he's supporting them, but at the same time, he's saying, oh, no, I want to bring everybody together. So I wanted to see, when Nyanza is speaking, one, I'd like to advise her, maybe I haven't, been to every masjid, and I have seen her first time in the Maryam Masjid. I would really request her to make those appearances more and more frequent so we come to know about her. We come to know about what she stands for.
Thank you so much.
That would be my recommendation. And my question is, how do you really see the hypocrisy in your in the other candidates, what statements he makes and what he really practices versus what your campaign stands for? So thank you that was a long question. So I appreciate all what you really stand for.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling.
There's a
the
distinct
difference between your campaign and his campaign.
I believe
and everything else.
Money and the root of all evil is money. So when you think about it, if you have a candidate that last time had the support of the Muslim people in the district.
And if you don't mind holding that thought,
sure.
We want to address this subject in details. How Nyanza Moor's campaign is different than any other campaigns, and the question from the previous 4 callers, and we're running out of time here. We're going to have a detailed discussion on that, viewers. We have gone over the time. हम थोड़ा वक्त से आगे चले गए हैं. एक छोटी सी break लेते हैं. Let's take a very short break and come right back. Stay with us. Election 2020, TV1 USA. Assalamu alaikum, ji ayanu, welcome back, khush amdeed. Folks, I'm just going to summarize in Urdu a couple of sentences for those of my brothers and sisters and elders sitting at home enjoying their evening coffee and tea and chai. हम दोबारा इस प्रोग्राम में हाजिर हुए हैं। प्रोग्राम का टॉपिक बहुत सेंसिटिव, ह्यूज सब्जेक्ट है, बात नहीं हो सकती है, टाइम बहुत कम है। कॉलर से बात करेंगे, कॉलर से बात करने के फ़ौरन बाद प्रोग्राम में जाएंगे। कॉलर, यू आर ऑन एयर।
Am I on air?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So the previous caller was giving us some information about the fact of foreign funding and foreign influence in American elections, and it has been known for some time now. So I would like to bring your attention to one point, that the overseas friends of the BJP, it did intervene in the United Kingdom's elections, and since the Labour Party had opposed the Modi regime's abrogation of Article 370 and the military occupation of Kashmir on August the 5th, they mobilized their people in UK to basically drop their traditional support for the Labour Party and support the Conservatives. And now the same thing is happening in the United States.
That had already happened.
The Democratic, and since the same Democrats are actually calling out the fascist Modi regime on what it is doing to the Muslims in India and what it did to the Kashmiris on August the 5th, they are mobilizing their troops, as to say, they're mobilizing their people to basically to pull down the Democratic candidates and to support the Republicans. And that's why they say that Trump is in India to consolidate the vote of the Indian diaspora in the United States. And so that is one aspect of it. So that is a matter of concern, that foreign powers are using their diaspora in the United States to influence American politics and American policies towards other nations. And one of the things that Sri Western Kulkarni, as the previous caller pointed out, has taken money from the Hindu American Foundation, one of whose centers is in Sugarland. And there are other groups associated with these people, that is the Hindu Swam Sevak Sangh, which is the foreign affiliate of the Rashtra Swam Sevak Sangh, which is the paramilitary, the fascist organization in India that is supporting the Modi regime. So it is as if we are in the 1930s and you have an overseas wing of
We
the
have
Nazi
gone
Party
backward.
of Germany.
Yes. We have gone
And
backward.
we have the Nazi Party of Germany, which is operating in the United States and is funneling all kind of support and is influencing American policies so that it becomes favorable to Germany, who is in the middle of committing a genocide. in
Thank
Europe.
you. Thank you so
Right?
much. Thank
That's
you
what
so
we are
much.
at.
Thank you so much.
The passion.
This program have become, ladies and gentlemen, about the international policy. What
Yeah.
Congress would do if, when you make it to the Congress, Nyanza, atrocities in Kashmir, British parliamentarians have condemned many actions, and as the rebuttal, the money has gone, opposition has started, and those extremist factions who don't care about the human rights violation are active. And you have pointed out there's a lot of foreign influence already in the United States. What would
Yes.
you do, Nyanza, when you're making it to the Congress?
I believe that when you are donating money to a PAC, like I know that my opponent he got the endorsement from the Hindu PAC. So I believe that the money that is funded into the PAC by individual donors, you need to have your name listed, exactly who is donating the money to the PAC. The PAC should be able to have basically an open secret letting us know exactly where the money came from. Because if you can raise $1.5 million in a matter of months and you haven't been out there campaigning at all, you really haven't done anything, but all of a sudden you have this influx of cash, where did it come from? Because I know when I was raising money, getting $1 and $2 and $3 at a time, that's grassroots fundraising. You know, because you're not allowed to take corporate money.
So you would say your funding is sacred?
My funding is sacred, very
and
sacred.
that is an American value-based funding?
Absolutely, and the FEC tried to say the two rules: no corporate checks, and no union checks, so that they would be able to track every single dollar that comes in. You must be an American citizen. You must be over the age of 18. You cannot be a company. And so if you have individual donors, then if those people are from foreign governments or foreign influence, they're going to donate to a PAC. The PAC will be created so that the PAC can write the checks and no one will know where the money came from in the PAC.
So the facts are trickling in, folks. But you know, my fellow Hindu Americans, those who are not part of BJP, you and us are being divided. Okay? Kashmir, you know, they have right to self-determination. Any people have right to self-determination. You are supporting it. The human rights violations against Muslims in India, where the population of Muslims is almost half of the population of the United States. Folks, come out and help humanity. My Hindu brothers and sisters who are not part of BJP and RSS, this is becoming a huge issue among our community, and with love and affection, come out and speak volume and support those who go against this extremism and this mentality of extremism. Nyanza, we have one more caller. Caller will stay with us, but I want to ask you one more question. You said your money is sacred and it is in line with American values. How is that?
Well, we ask people to donate if they believe in what I'm trying to run on. I'm making sure we have health care, we take care of our veterans, that we give children universal pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 so that the young moms don't have to come off the financial burden of paying for daycare, and making sure that, you know, just the hard-working American people are able to have a shot at being successful. And so I ask my donors, if you have $1, if you have $2, if you're on a fixed income and you can barely pay for your prescription drug prices and all you can donate is $1, please donate it. So all of my donations can be tracked. You know, I have more individual donations than the other candidates because I'm getting in $2 at a time, so it takes a long time to get to $150,000.
So you want more people, you want less money, you want more involvement.
People. I believe in the power of the people, not the power of the dollar. Because the vote, no matter how many RSS infiltrators fund your campaign.
How much that concerns you, a foreign political party influencing U.S.
We just had an
Congress.
impeachment about Russia. So when you think about Russian interference in foreign elections, Russia's interfering right now. It's major. That was one of the things that the original founders of the Constitution decided. You do not want outside governments influencing the United States of America in our election process.
And would you say many, many times in Congress, it comes down to 1, 2, or 3 votes?
It
and
does.
if you have 1, 2, 3 congressional folks in there, you can change the law?
You really can't. Let me tell you, the 4 Muslim women, the first time in United States history, we had 4 Muslim women that were elected to Congress. Those 4 women have been ostracized by the right-wingers that are in Congress, by the President of the United States, you know, made fun of. And I believe that the power of the voice of those 4, those are 4 Muslim women. But what about
Muslim
the power?
Americans.
Muslim American. So when you think about, if I'm elected to Congress, I will add my name to be fighting alongside of the squad, the 4 of
the
them.
squad, the
to make
famous
sure
squad.
that people
Okay.
understand that just because you're not a Muslim American does not mean that you don't have to stand up for the rights of the Muslim people when they are under attack. Because I really feel like the Muslim people are under attack, not only in the United States, with the divisive rhetoric that's coming straight from the Oval Office, but also with us watching what's going on in Kashmir. And it doesn't matter that Modi stopped the internet. If you can't assemble, you can't have more than 4 people that join up together, then that means you can't protest. If you can't have Wi-Fi access, if you're made to stand, when I gave the talk at CAPSA, it was 195 days. I think that was a week ago. So now we're over 200 days.
And Mariam's family member dies getting
Yes.
bread
Yes.
for the children, folks?
You're getting
Imagine
murdered for getting bread.
Your lovely daughter or son asks you that I need bread for my sandwich tomorrow morning for my school, and that dad never comes back. That is sad.
You've had 60,000 Muslim people murdered in
Let's take
Kashmir.
one caller and control room. If we can just not take any more calls. We love you, viewers, but we just want to pause some calls so we can have the conclusion thoughts. We have 2 callers. Okay, we'll take 2. Go ahead, you are on air, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Bhai, Ali Bhai, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing great.
How are you, Mrs. Moore?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, my main question is, Palestinian problem and Kashmiri problem, we cannot solve it. No matter how much we talk about it, no matter how much we discuss about it, no matter how much we argue about it, we cannot solve it. It should go through the UN. And UN cannot solve either. Years and years and years that this problem is going on. Nobody can solve it. Only we can have some majority of Muslims in the Congress, so we can discuss about it. We need more Muslims to go in the Congress. So I request you people to encourage a Muslim to get involved in Congress. Have some majority. Only 4 or 5 Muslim girls, a lady. There was one more Muslim man was here in Minnesota. He quit. He went to the back of his name is he quit. That's the way we cannot solve the problem. We have a less majority.
So
we should do.
Got you.
Only we should get majority on it. But
Thank you so much. I think the line got dropped. But definitely we need to bring more American Muslims to come out And they have served in every aspect of the life of this great country, this great nation. It's time that they serve at the Hill as well. Second caller, you're on air, sir.
Ma'am, actually, I want to ask only one question. What's the difference between you and the other candidates?
How are you different than other candidates, Nyanza Moore? And those can be our conclusion thoughts, I believe, because we're running out of time.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm the only one that's speaking about the human rights violations in Kashmir. I'm the only one that's speaking truth to power. I've not ever been a candidate before. And, one of my opponents has been elected to city government in Pearland, Texas, which is in Brazoria County, but he never spoke truth to power. And I believe that as a woman, a lot of times women, we're taught not to speak out, but my dad taught me to speak out. And even in the face of knowing that it will prevent me from being able to, of course I could take foreign money. I could do like the other candidate and just take money from whomever, just say, oh yeah, I've raised $1 million. But the difference between me and the other candidate is I will not forget you once I'm elected. See, that's what happens. A lot of the people that are already in office right now, they're now taking money from RSS affiliates because they're in elected office and they need to continue to raise money because they have to run every 2 years.
It's a vicious cycle.
Absolutely, it's a cycle. And since I'm unbought and unbossed, I'm able to speak truth to power, and no other candidate is going to give you that. None of them have already. And I know that, I took a break in December and January. I had people die in my family. And so I needed to take some family time. But while I was on my break, I noticed that my opponents were going to visit the mosques pretty much every Friday. And I listened to a couple of their talks, and I thought, why are you not talking about the biggest elephant in the room?
The truth. Face the problem.
Why are you not facing, why in a room, in a mosque full of praying Muslim Americans, why are you not speaking to the issue that is most pressing to them? And
so it's not documented, right?
That's right.
Nyanza, you worked in the media and you know the time crunch is here.
I know.
You know what? I would heed my closing time to you. So you can do the closing, tell the people where to go and who to vote for and all that.
Thank
Go
you so
ahead.
much. I'm Nyanza Davis Moore. Right now, I'm running as a Democrat for United States Congress in Texas's 22nd Congressional District. Right now, we're in the middle of early voting. Early voting ends on Friday, February the 28th. The polling stations, you can vote anywhere in your county. You don't have to go to the one that's actually in your neighborhood or your precinct. All you have to do is take your driver's license or a state-issued photo ID, and you can vote. The polling stations are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. in some places and 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. in others. After February the 28th, there will be no more voting until Super Tuesday, which is March 3rd. So that is very important. You will be able to select your Democratic primary nominee. There are 4 of us in this race. It takes 50% plus 1 to win. You can follow me at NyanzaDavisMoore.com or Nyanza for Congress. That's Nyanza for Congress on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Please go out and support me. Share the videos. I'm speaking truth to power. If you have any questions for me, feel free to inbox me on Facebook Messenger.
Okay, thank you so much, viewers. May God Almighty bless all the folks in Congress who are working for the best of our nation. Bless our nation, bless the world, bless the humanity. See you here again in election 2020. Have a good night. Allah Hafiz. See you and goodbye.